This is A to Z with Mark Zinno, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, and it starts now.
Here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, where today I tell you to respect the process. Welcome in. We are live here on this Thursday. Appreciate you guys joining us. Give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. D. Orlando Ledbetter, the AJC, will join us as first media availability today for the Atlanta Falcons as they start their offseason program and OTAs. We'll get to the Falcons coming up here in just a minute. And there are actually two things that I want you to respect the process on today. And we'll start with the Braves, and then we'll go to the Falcons here because the Braves get an 8-4 win last night over the Philadelphia Phillies. They start to get some bats to come alive. It looks like, at least for the game. You see a team that finally hit the ball out of the ballpark with Dansby Swanson and Austin Riley. It's one of those things where, hey, when you score 7 or 8 runs a game, everybody looks a lot better, right? And so that's kind of what happened, even though the fact that Ronald Acuna didn't play last night, they still come out on top. Now, I absolutely love Jeff Schultz as a columnist here for The Athletic. I think he's one of the best that I've ever been around, and he's really, really smart, and he's got very intelligent viewpoints. That said, I sort of categorically disagree with at least the column that he wrote based off of Jeff Francoeur's comments. Jeff Francoeur, of course, is part of the Braves broadcast team on TV, and he said something to the effect that maybe the Braves need an a-hole in the clubhouse to start and jarring these guys into better shape or making them play better. And while the first name that came to mind, honestly, obviously for everybody, was Joc Pederson last year with his pearls, and we are those bleepers. And a couple of years ago, it was Josh Donaldson, right? You had that guy that always made the clubhouse fun and easy and relaxed. And apparently there was some sort of, idea that maybe Joc Pederson held other guys accountable, this, that, and the other. And that was the one question I asked about Freddie when he was gone. And I asked it more directed at Ronald Acuna, just because, Freddie would always keep Acuna in check with the lollygagging and the showboating and things of that nature. And not that I believe Acuna needed to be kept in check, but Freddie was sort of that guy. He was the adult in the room. He was the dad in the clubhouse. And that, I think, was super important for the team. And I think it was one of those things where, when things started to go off the rails, Freddie was the guy that spoke to the team and got him back on because he was the most senior guy here and the best player here. But this idea that, you need a Joc Pederson here, to me is sort of laughable. I mean, Pederson was acquired midseason from the Chicago Cubs. He batted .249 and hit 7 home runs last year. What exactly are you missing? If you're missing a personality in the clubhouse, and a personality makes guys play better, I'm going to argue that that's not really what you need. Like, guys need to play better, and I don't know that there's a personality that's going to make them play better. They just need to start doing it. Like, it's one thing when you haven't won, to have that guy, right? And especially to have that guy on a team who had already won, because Pederson was part of the Dodgers when they were in the World Series. That guy brings experience. He brings knowledge. He brings perspective that other guys who have never won a title may have had. That's the difference. When everybody in this team, in this locker room, already has a ring on their finger and has won, they should know better. Like, let's stop searching for quirky little things that are all of a sudden supposed to make this team better so that they can play better baseball. Like, I don't buy into that. They just need to start playing better. Everybody in this clubhouse should understand what it takes to be a World Series caliber baseball team, and they do. They're not performing like it, and I don't know what's going to necessarily make them, but a .249 hitter with 7 home runs for 65 games is not, I don't think that's the answer. I really don't. Like, that, to me, that just seems nonsensical. It's one of those things where it's like, what are we really reaching for here? I get it. Everybody wants the Braves to play better, and I want the Braves to play better. And I 100% believe that they can play better, and they probably will start to play better at some point. hopefully sooner rather than later. June 15th, folks. Keep the date on your calendar. But that said, again, this is a process. Okay, baseball is a long, long season. Just get into the postseason. At this point, I trust the Braves in any playoff situation. 1-game playoff, 3-game series, 7-game series. What's the reason not to? They've got all the pieces that they need. All right. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Would I rather have Freddie Freeman than Matt Olson? Probably. And that's not an indictment on Matt Olson. I just rather have Freddie Freeman. There's a reason why he's one of the 12 best players in Major League Baseball, because he is. And that's not to say Matt Olson is bad. He's just not one of the 12 best. I mean, that's, I think it's fair. So let's relax with the try to find quirky little deals and things of that nature of how this Braves team is going to get better. They just need to start playing like it. Let's switch to the Falcons here real quick, because again, Orlando Ledbetter of the AJC is going to join us coming up here in a few minutes. But, the process that they are going through here is interesting. Again, as they start this offseason program, as they start workouts, I'm very curious to see the tone that Arthur Smith is going to set for this team, given the low expectations that they have. Pay very careful attention when Falcons players start to meet with the media and they start to talk. Look for the words that they use. Look for the phrases that they use. Look for the sort of terminology that they approach this with, because the messaging is part of this. It has to be. It should be. Look, if they're not messaging this properly as far as what their expectations are, look, we know Arthur Smith has said that we're not tanking. We're going to try to win every game possible. That's fine. But every coach says that. But knowing the difference between tanking and just not being a good team is pretty apparent, right? And pretty obvious. This is not going to be a good team. It's not a good roster. I saw yesterday, it was kind of funny. The Falcons did like a thing on their social media site of who's the best basketball player. It was like a TikTok video, I think, or something. And every person who came up, they flashed their name at the top of the screen. And I forget, somebody on Twitter, oh, God, no, it was our good buddy Aaron Freeman from Locked On Falcons, wrote, I'm glad they put their names in it because I have no idea who these guys are. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of where we are with this thing. You couldn't pick any of these guys out of lineup. If you saw them in Publix or Kroger, you wouldn't know any of these dudes are. You would have no idea that they play for the Falcons. They're just like a big muscular guy. I'm a big muscular guy. Well, not that big, but you get the point. So the process for this offseason and what they're going to do and how they're going to attack it, I think is going to be very, very interesting. I think Arthur Smith is a guy who believes in culture, and he's a guy who wants to set the tone early on for what this team is and what they're going to be and how they're going to play. Now, again, I still feel like they're going to be more competitive than people are going to give them credit for. I don't know. Look, if this is a 3-win team, that would actually surprise me. Like, it genuinely would surprise me. They may be bad, but I don't know if they're 2 or 3-win bad. They're not like Jacksonville Jaguars 1-15 kind of bad. However, I will say this much, and this goes back to the gambling thing for me. The Westgate Superbook has assigned their power rankings, which is basically what they use to help equate the point spread of any given game, right? They have power ranked the Falcons as the worst team in the National Football League at minus 5.6. So theoretically, playing any team on a neutral field, the Falcons would automatically be 5.6 or 5.5 point underdogs, right? Like, that's really what if you're playing an even team, not any team, I should say, if you're playing an even team, that's 0. So let's just take the Buffalo Bills, who are the number 1 team. They're at 5.9 plus 5.9. If it's a neutral field, you take the 5.9 that they are minus the 5.6, you get almost an 11-point spread. Buffalo Bills would be favored by 11. That's kind of how odds makers do it. And I say all this not because, it always comes back to gambling with me, but that the Falcons, again, I think may surprise some people. And I'm going to rely on the side of Arthur Smith here and give him a little bit of credit and give him a little bit of money in the bank with me that he's going to make this team better than what they are because of the process. All right, coming up next, we'll dive deeper into the Atlanta Falcons and the offseason program with the Orlando Ledbetter of the AJC. That's coming up right next here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. It is A to Z. I'm Mark Zinno. Stay with us. More to come. Free here on YouTube and Locked On Sports, wherever you get your podcasts. That's what you search for. We'll be right back.